It's interesting what pops up on your news feed based on what you search. And obviously, I've been looking at some of the latest stuff going on about the Matrix and Keanu Reeves. Why wouldn't I? I was around in '99 and loved the Matrix. So I'm interested to see how this next one pans out and if it gets ruined by Hollywood. And actually, also just get ruined because it's being revisited 22 years after the original. So, but what fascinated me in the interview, and it was an interview with The Guardian, Keanu Reeves describes the passing of time and getting older. And he described it like an old audio tape, an old cassette tape like you'd put into the car. And if you're of a certain age, you know exactly what I mean. And he said, and it was just wonderful imagery. He said, each year, he says it seems to slip away that little bit faster than the last. It's something that always puts him in mind of the turning wheel of an audio tape. When you're young, he says, you have a big old reel of that tape left. And then, so it appears to revolve slowly. Then time passes, and there's less and less tape left on the reel, and it starts to spin faster. It spins faster and faster. And that's an amazing analogy. It's fantastic because people won't realise this, but like when I was young and cassette tapes were a thing, and we hadn't even heard of DVDs and CDs, let alone downloading internet or streaming. Cassette tapes were what they were. They were these big audio tapes. Even a little cassette tape, which was probably a smaller than that phone. Okay, so that's a Galaxy S10, and it was smaller than that. Probably about the same height, but a cassette tape was probably about there. You get the picture. And the thing about them was, this audio tape, and at the beginning of the tape, it's like that big inside the thing, and then it moves over to the other side, and as this gets smaller, this side gets bigger. And that's life. When you're young, you've got this much life ahead of you. And as you get older, you've got this much life behind you. And what's left over here is what you've got left. And that's it. It's when you're young, you've got all your life ahead of you. And this is how much life you've lived. And then as you've lived more than more, gets less and less. And before you know it, it's all behind you, and this is all ahead of you, and it's all gone. What was once ahead of you is now in the past. And a certain urgency can come to you. What have I done? What can I do more of? What's important to me? What mistakes do I keep repeating? And it's funny because, I'm 47 now. I live at home with my mum. It was never part of the plan. It never meant to happen. And yeah, it's just, and ironically, I was a guy that moved out at home at 18, came back in my 30s, and because my priorities changed, different things were more important to me. I never got married, I never had kids, I've always had a job. But yeah, there was a few trips along the way. And the funny thing is, as you start getting older and older, you start to feel that there's less ahead of you than there is behind you. It's weird. And it's not morbid, but it's amazing how you start to appreciate different things. My mum just cooked a load of bacon, and I was just like, oh, should I go and just nip out and get some crusty rolls? And me, my mum, and my brother just all sat there as a family eating bacon rolls. Oh yeah, life's good. Do you know what I mean? Once upon a time, life used to be that life was good with 20 shots of tequila and a late night out. And anyway, I don't mean to be rambling like that, but it's just, I love that analogy. And if you're young and you're watching this, try and be aware of that. Try and imagine that. Because it's going to escape you quicker than you realise. I'm 47. tell you now, 16 was yesterday. 16 years of age was yesterday. And you can waste so much time chasing things that are not important. And the biggest thing I chased of zero importance was other people's opinions of me. You shouldn't give a shit. You shouldn't give a monkeys. Look inside of you and do what makes you happy. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't. If you've got an ambition, if you've got a dream, if there's a place you want to go and visit, if there's something you want to study, something you want to learn, just do it. You will never regret it. You will never regret just doing things. That audio tape, life's tape, it runs out quicker than you realise. And I know when you're young this can sound like patronising, because it's all ahead of you. It's so ahead of you. And you just don't realise how quickly it goes. Honest, I was 16 yesterday, and I can't tell you what happened to the years that passed. I can't. And in that interview, Keanu Reeves was saying, it seems to, once you become aware that the time has passed, it seems to pass quicker and quicker and quicker. And it only seems like yesterday I was 5, 6 years old, staring out of the window in a school classroom, trying to get through the day, and the next school holiday seemed like a year away. And in the UK, summer holidays were typically 6 weeks. And at the beginning of that holiday, it was amazing. You know, I got 6 weeks off school. And I could still feel that excitement. And then suddenly it was September. You know, shit. Where did those 6 weeks fly? And yeah, well, I had 47 years in, and that's how it feels. It just catches you up. It really does. So, if you're young, don't waste it, man. Don't ever waste it. And don't waste it on people. Invest in yourself.